What is up, everybody? My name is BobaTalks and welcome back to a brand new Arrow video. And now this was requested because I don't know how long ago, not so long ago, I did a top 10 or top 11 things I wanted to see in The Flash Season 4. And some of you guys were like, well, I want to see an Arrow version of this. And I kind of planned on doing it anyway, but, you know, here we are, a little bit of a while later. But either way, I did get there in the end. I would love to hear your thoughts as well in the comment section below on everything I am going to say in this video. I believe I've got around 10 things to say. Some might blend into others, but either way, this is what I want to see in Arrow Season 6. Now, bear in mind, this is sort of putting news aside. This video is strictly like what I want to see, not thinking about what we already know necessarily about Arrow Season 6, but what I want to see just based on what I've seen in Season 5, what I think could be good for the show and what I would personally enjoy. So let me know in the comments down below if you think or agree with any of the things I say, and maybe you want to add some things onto my list of what you want to see in Arrow Season 6. So just let me know those down in the comment section below, which I keep goddamn bloody saying. So number one is kind of a stereotypical one. There's slightly upgraded suit and a slightly upgraded bow, or like maybe trick shots. So mainly, I know the suit or a photo was released, and I know I said I wasn't going to talk about news. Recently, all the shows got a photo, like The Flash got one of his new suit, Oliver got one in his Green Arrow suit, and I don't know it's too much different, but maybe there are a few subtle changes. Let me know if you've seen any. But yeah, just a little tweak. I love the suit already, but mainly, if not the suit, then mainly I'm pointing towards the bow. I would love to see some more trick shots, you know, with the arrows. And no, I'm not talking about the
nanites courtesy of Ray Palmer that are delivering a high frequency pulse that are disabling your speed,
or something like that, or maybe something like that. But either way, stuff like that, whether it's like a freeze kind of arrow that can, I don't know, stun them with like a temporary, like, sort of mini signature stroke of Captain Cold's gun, or like, so I don't know, just something crazy and wacky like that. Because in Season 5, I think it was the first episode, some of the stuff we saw in there where Oliver came out, you know, in the first episode, like in the parachute, and I know we've seen stuff like that before, but there's a lot more cool stuff, vigilante, kick-ass stuff that requires no superpowers apart from a bit of R&D. But yeah, I want to see more cool stuff like that. So let me know what you think of that one. So number two is kind of about a couple of characters. So I want to see more Quentin Lance this season, and I felt like it was a bit shoved to the side last season, or just ever since he kind of lost his cop sort of role and he's more in Team Arrow now. And even though he's beside the mayor, I felt like his storyline did dwindle a bit, and I want to tie in Thea here as well. I just feel like they need to have a lot more of an interesting story this season. We all love, I'm sure you are in agreement with me here, he's one of my favorite characters, Quentin Lance. So I want to see him do a bit more, and I'll talk about how this ties in with one of my later points. But I want to see Quentin have a bit more of a significant role. Same with Thea. I mean, Thea can be a very good character, but what happened with her last season was very, just, you know, go to the side, Thea. You don't have much development or whatever story for you this season at all. Number three is I want Mr. Terrific to be more badass, because since they're keeping him in this season, for what we know, I don't know how long he's going to be in it, if he is going to be going at all. But for the time being, I believe that he's still going to be a part of Team Arrow, and I feel like Curtis really does need a bit of a boost, because I feel like, don't get me wrong, he's moved up, especially towards what he was in, like, for example, Season 4 or something like that, but I just feel like I'm not so mega interested in this character. So I would be so pleasantly surprised if they made him a lot more, not necessarily less quirky, because that is his character, but a bit more freaking cool, like Oliver when he does his cool stuff, you know. At the minute, and I'm not saying this was bad when Cisco was transitioning, but Cisco did have quite a long transition into vibe. It was like neither here nor there. Now he's finally a bit more vibe with his suit and stuff. So if you know what I mean by that, I feel like Curtis is kind of stuck between being his full potential as Mr. Terrific, but he's just not quite there yet. So I want them to give him that push so he can become a lot more badass this season. But I've got another point with Curtis as well later on, which I'll tie in around point 7, 8, or 9, I can't remember. Number 4 is Vigilante. Who is he? Yes, I want some storylines like this wrapped up. Stuff like Helix or like the Bratva and stuff like that, I'm sure they will be wrapped up, but I don't want them to be floating in the background and kind of forgotten about. But yes, I really don't want them to overlook Vigilante. I don't believe they will. I think that'd be very odd. They definitely did overlook him last season. I think that was a storyline they were going to run with, but it kind of dropped. Things like that happen in these TV shows. But wow, you know, he's only a couple of people, and I'm sure many people right now are thinking Pike. Well, it could be Pike, but there's only so many people it could be. I was having a conversation like this the other day with a couple of friends. So I want to know who Vigilante is. It'd be really cool to get that payoff. Ultimately, Vigilante, who is he? Number 5 is I kind of want Richard Dragon, the main villain for Season 6 of Arrow, to be revealed kind of early, because I really enjoyed once in Season 5, spoiler alert, but you should have seen it if you're watching this video for Season 6, what I want to see, is that I really enjoyed once it was revealed that Prometheus was Adrian Chase. I loved the interaction between Stephen Amell and Josh Segarra, as well as just the characters. You know, it was just a lot more fun, that those mind games. And obviously they're not going to copy and paste their storyline in Season 6, because how would that be interesting if they're just rehashing the same old stuff? But I want it to be more of a back and forth battle, like what they were kind of doing in Season 5. I love that dynamic. Like, it's really, really cool. And I know Richard Dragon, hopefully they do him justice, but he's going to be a badass if they do. And it would be cool if he was just out there as a public enemy to Oliver. He already knows who he is. Not necessarily an uncowl or unmasking event, but if they do have to do that and wonder who this bad guy is, and they finally come to unveiling who that is, do it early on. Don't leave it to episode 13. Don't do a Savitar. Even the Flash showrunners regret. They even said that they wish they kind of revealed Savitar a bit early. So nothing like that. Make Richard Dragon known. Make the the confrontations be back and forth all season long. Because that is what keeps people interested. Not necessarily the unmaskings anymore, but the long-term interaction throughout the season. And yes, to be honest, kind of like what they did with Damien Dark, but the only difference is Damien Dark kind of sucked, as we all know, in Season 4. But imagine Richard Dragon, but in Damien Dark's position as he was throughout the season, but awesome. Okay, so if the angle, whatever, lighting looks different, the camera battery died, but we are back on track with number 6, and what I wrote down is Roy. Roy. What do I mean, Roy? I want Roy to return. And everyone does. That's all I bloody hear all the time. Roy, Roy, Roy. When is Roy Harper coming back? And to be honest, whenever I've seen that preached, I've always been like, I get how Roy's cool, but what's the big deal? Like, Colton Haynes is a good guy, but like, and a good actor, but I just always felt like, don't get me wrong, Roy's was a good part of Arrow, but I never thought he was amazing. But yes, I want him to return. I just don't want to overhype him. He was a great character, but I just know when people are screaming Roy to return, he's not going to come back to be a series regular. I just know he's not anytime soon, at least. Maybe, for all we know, Season 7, he might sign something that makes him come back somehow. I don't know how they work that out on the writing, but writers are amazing like that. But yeah, I want Roy to return. Let me know if you think he should return or not. But bear in mind, when I say a return, I would like him to be a part of the team and maybe replace someone like Curtis, just me personally. But I think it's only going to be for an episode or 2, maybe even longer. That'd be great. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be for the whole of Season 6. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Now, number 7, when I was thinking of what I wanted to put down and I was looking up inspiration and what other people thought of what they want to see in Arrow Season 6, I definitely agreed with this one recurring thing, is a lot more comic book accurate things. And the most popular one I agreed with is like more Dinah Drake and Oliver scenes, just team up scenes. Now, we all know that it's probably never going to be the comic book Dinah and Oliver, Black Canary, Green Arrow romance, or, you know, team up kind of thing, but at least they can mirror that with a few badass fights and stuff like that, or just Oliver and Dinah going out as in costume and suited up, rather than just necessarily Diggle and, you know, that kind of thing. I want to see some comic book shots where you see it on the screen and you can literally get the comic book animated color over it to really make you feel like they've done a really cool fan service there. I think they could do that. I think that'd be really cool. I think people have accepted that there's not going to be necessarily a romance there. Who knows, maybe in the distant future. But yeah, just some more comic book cool stuff like that. We've got our Black Canary now with the actual cry. The only thing is, I don't know how this will tie into Black Siren. I don't know how, but if people want her to take the screen time over Dinah Drake's screen time, but we're just going to have to wait and see. Let me know what you think of that in the comments below as well. Now, number 8 for me, guys, is the Black Siren redemption arc, and make it good. Now, I think we all know we're going to get that Black Siren redemption arc throughout the season, but what I want it to do is make it good, but don't shove it in my face. Now, I don't want to spew a load of hate here, but personally, I'm not a massive... I don't get the whole Katie Cassidy cult following that she's got. I think Laurel is great, or the Laurel following. I don't know what way you want to look at it. But Laurel was good on the show, but she was never my favorite. I know there's so many people out there. There's so many people who love the character, but personally, I just don't see it. So I don't want her to be shoved in my face this season. Now she's back from the dead, but technically as a different character. But what I think will encourage me to like her even more is if they do Black Siren really well in Season 6. Make the redemption story a long one, make it a struggling one, and this is where I wanted to tie him from earlier. Make Quentin Lance this season, that could be how they introduce him even more in this season, make him a bit more relevant than what he was last season, instead of just standing by the mayor and just being like, oh, this, that, I'm, you know, security or whatever. Make him really involved in this Laurel from Earth 2 storyline. I feel like stuff like that would make it very interesting. You can do some character development for Quentin at the same time. Don't shove Laurel on our faces. I don't want it to be all about that, because you also take away from Dinah Drake. It's going to be interesting, but if they take their time, make it a long arc where she actually does see sense over a long period of time and she gets redeemed like that, instead of just a few episodes and she's like, oh, you know, I'm going to fight for Team Arrow now. That would just be a bit bland for me, and I don't want it just to be Katie Cassidy being the thing that pulls the excuses out of the way for their failure of the Black Siren character in Season 6. I feel like they can really do something here, so please do that. Now, number 9 is more Wild Dog. Now, even though I think the team is a bit too big, I really like Wild Dog now. At the first few episodes of Season 5, I really couldn't stand his character, and I get that's what they were probably trying to achieve. He was always cocky, he was always answering back to Oliver, he was always disobeying his orders, or like his advice, if you want to put it like that. And he was really pissing me off, but when he got more development and he sort of piped down a bit, they made up and they sort of resolved their issues between Oliver and Wilder. I really liked his character, so I'm glad they're keeping him. I want to just see more of him. I feel like maybe it's time for someone to go. I feel like Team Arrow, and I've seen this everywhere, is a bit too big. And maybe it's time for someone to go, but I don't know who, because they've actually all had quite a bit of screen time now. For me personally, if I had to choose, and I really don't want to say this because it's like sort of getting rid of one of your children or something like that. I just don't want to get rid of one of them because I don't necessarily not like any of them. But if I had to, I would guess I would say maybe Curtis, because I feel like this team is too big. I feel like they need to put it down in size a little bit. So actually, I'll just call that number 9. But yeah, more Wild Dog, but at the same time, maybe it's time for someone to go. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Do you think somebody needs to leave Team Arrow? And if so, because I'm sure we all like them to a degree, who would you choose? Because it's like, I don't want any of them to go, but at the same time, I think it would be better if one of them left. So let me know if you agree with that. And now lastly, number 10 is, I know we're in the future or something like that, in Legends of Tomorrow we were teased that's, you know, Smoke Industries or something like that was happening, or I don't think it's going to be called that anymore, but something is still going to be going in that direction. But I would like to see Queen Consolidated back, or just more Queen name. I want the Queen, sort of like, you know how Bruce Wayne has Wayne Enterprises, and I know in some stories that he's had problems with the board and stuff like that, and that's kind of what they did with Oliver, and he lost it. But I want the Vigilante and Oliver being the Green Arrow to be backed up by Queen Consolidated or Queen Industries or something. I think that Oliver Queen needs to be not only what is developed in terms of the public and the way they see him, but I want his name back in the city. I really want his business back, rather than it just being Felicity's thing or something like that. So let me know what you think of all of these suggestions, guys. I know it's quite a long video, but I would love to hear what you would like to see in Arrow Season 6. And do you agree with anything I said, or do you have any additional things that you want to see that you think I missed out on? And maybe if I heard it, I would have included it in my top 10. But either way, guys, if you enjoyed this video and you got this far in the video, please hit that like button. It only takes 1 second of your time. It just shows your support and helps the channel out at the same time. And also, if you got this far in the video, type in the comment section down below, courtesy of Ray Palmer, just to prove that you are a true Boba Battalion member, or whatever the hell that is. If you guys want to stay a bit more up to date with me personally, you can do so by following me on any of the social medias popping up on the screen around here, or in the links below. Just click on one of them to follow me on your social media of choice. But apart from that, guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.